Yeah, if they weren't there, I would have
Yeah,
died. Yeah, I would have died. Yeah. The hazards of teaching.
Imagine seeing your prof just sinking into the ground. It would be pretty traumatic.
Hi, I'm Warren Liu. Should I look at the camera or you? Okay, conversing with her. Right? Okay. Hi, I'm Warren Liu. I'm the partner of one of the partners of AD Lab. I've been in the industry for 30 years. Yeah, coming close to 30 years, 29 years, yes.
What were you, Darlene?
Darlene Smyth, I'm Canadian, but I came here 27 years ago, and that's as long as I've been in the industry.
Oh, okay, okay. So, what sparked your career in architecture?
Actually, I knew I was going to be an architect since I was 10 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. It was an occasion in which my sister somehow got a hold of an architectural journal from then the School of Architecture, NUS, from a friend of hers, and she passed me this journal. And after looking through that journal, I just knew this was something, yeah, I want to do, yeah. And ever since then, yeah, it's been a pretty straight path for me.
You knew since you were 10.
Yep.
Self-fulfilled prophecy.
Wasn't a prophecy, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess I knew from a very, very young age. That's right.
What were you learning? I know you studied music first.
Yes, when I was 10, I was positive I was going to be a singer. Then I studied music. I did a degree in music, and then I wanted to go into communications, so I did that. I wanted to be a writer. So I came across it slowly, I guess. Eventually I did a master's in architecture, but I've always seen architecture. My father is an architect, and I always knew what it was about, and so I came around to it, I suppose. Maybe I denied going into it because my father was an architect for as long as I did.
And she married an architect.
Yes.
So, why didn't you start with architecture?
I just loved singing. I love many things, and I love singing, but it wasn't enough academics for me. It was a lot about performance. Then I loved communications, but it wasn't enough creativity in what I was doing anyway. It wasn't a creative area of communications. So architecture brought them both together.
So, we're filming at your house today, and you've been so gracious to let us kind of film in this space. And would you say that until now, this is still your dream home?
No, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying I've never had a notion of a dream home for some strange reason. Yeah. I had maybe an inkling of how my home should be. Okay. I never liked a large house. Yeah. I always thought a very, very small, intimate space, very cozy and very homely and comfortable. Yeah. So this house has evolved. I mean, ever since, it took us about 2.5 years to conceptualize this house because it was our last priority. We had to make several iterations and changes along the way. And in the end, yeah, we knew, okay, we've run out of time, so we have to build it. So while building it, we didn't even have a set of drawings. We just had plans, elevation sections. We gave it to the contractor, and kind of estimated the cost. Okay, this is how much it's going to cost. Okay, go. And then along the way, we started to design elements, So we'll come to site and it was sketch it on the walls. Yeah. We had 2 kids, and one of them happens to be autistic. Yeah. So, quite a lot of thought had to deal with his autistic tendencies and to future-proof it. we wanted the idea of biophilia, okay? Because yeah, we've always been, well, I've always had, very, very a strong believer in biophilic potential, yeah. And I think living here for the past 9 years, I think it has reinforced this, especially during COVID, when you're cooped up, and yeah, and I think a lot of people discovered it, okay, during this COVID period, especially during the lockdown period, that when you do not have direct access to nature, okay, yeah, it actually affects your behavior and your mood, okay. So, and yeah, I think we were living quite comfortably within the compounds of this. Yeah. So even though it's a very, very small space, but we tried to, use every possible opportunity to actually put greenery in the house. Yeah.
Yeah, go.
How does the tree grow like when it only receives sunlight at like probably like 12 days?
No, it's indirect lighting.
Or indirect light?
Yeah.
So you notice the tendency for the trees to branch towards light. Yeah. So the top parts are trying to branch upwards, but the sides, this is a ficus, so they have these very tentacle-like branches. Yeah. So they branch out, and yeah, they they grow towards light. Yeah. They have a tendency to grow towards light.
All this like knowledge about plants, do you share the knowledge or or is he more well versed in it?
I share most of the knowledge, I suppose, just by listening to him. But
Along the way or
Yeah.
like in school?
that's the thing about architecture. I mean, architecture involves so many other different disciplines. And when you come out, in the school trains you to think only about maybe design and a little bit about structure, but there's so many other aspects of architecture that you have to learn about. So the learning actually just kind of starts when you graduate. Actually, I mean, plants are one thing, or movement of wind, the movement of air, the behavior of light, the behavior of people. How families interact, sociology, psychology, all comes in to architecture, and as well as all the, code information, and it's a big learning curve, and that's why architects don't really kind of peak until they're older, really, or can often peak until when they're older.
Then with every project, I suppose someone needs to take the lead. So who took the lead for like this house? There's also so many plants.
No, because I had more time. She had kids.
Yeah.
She had, the household to manage, and she had a business to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it turn out the way you wanted?
Yes, yeah. We wanted it to be not contrived, very natural and very much a home, not a house. Yeah.
Can I move to AD Lab?
Yeah.
So, as founders of AD Lab, I understand it's like third partner, or like how did the firm form and what is it about? Like what is AD Lab about?
It started as an idea. It was between me, Darlene, and one of our friends, Alan Wu. We were colleagues in DPA. Yeah. Around year 1999, we were, thinking we should move on. Yeah. That we should venture out and try something on our own. So we came out with this idea of setting up a practice. And I think we always believe in the transformative potential of architecture. That architecture, it's not this passive, kind of object or entity. It has, the ability to be able to change society, change perception, and change, people generally. We came up with this name, Design Laboratory. Yeah. So at first, it was called D Lab 3, okay, because there was the three of us. And then in the end, I think only Darlene started the design business. Okay, two of us.
D-Lab ones.
Kind of chickened out. So I joined another company and I started another firm. And Alan, went on his track and his journey. Yeah, and in the end, we ended up together again. Yeah, okay. So the whole idea of design laboratory, right, was that it was a place in which we wanted any architect, okay, who believes in this transformative potential of architecture to come in and just play and experiment and discover, yeah. So that's why we never named it the Liu and Smyth and Wu or something like that. So in the end, we had to add the A because Design Laboratory was actually a very common company name. Yeah, there's Design Laboratory, advertising and Design Laboratory, IT company. So we had to add the A. So the A stands for architects, as in the apostrophe S, yeah, S apostrophe, Architects Design Laboratory. So it's a laboratory for all architects who believe in this, yeah.
There's this consistent search for a convergence to a simple and elegant solution that evokes a sense of complexity and at the same time solves all the issues and concerns of the design in an economical and poetic manner. So this is what AD Lab has been said to kind of be inspired from. I was wondering if for those viewers who didn't look at it, is there an example that you can kind of give with regards to this kind of inspiration?
This house is probably a a prime example. It took 2.5 years to conceive. Yeah, I think anyone who practices architecture knows how complex it is. Yeah, because we have to take into account so many factors, right? From the understanding the client's brief and their personas and their aspirations to dealing with just budget. Okay, no project, has a kind of a client will give you a blank check. Okay, they usually give you a very unrealistic budget at the start. Okay, and they don't tell you, okay, that they have some reserves, until much later when they find out, you can't do it within that budget, right? And you're not going to be able to achieve what they want. Yeah. So it's always this struggle, right? And then there are all these other aspects as, codes. Codes is a big part if you practice in Singapore. Yeah.
Very prescriptive.
It's extremely prescriptive and it predefines a lot of things for you. So to break out of that, you literally have to somehow bend the rules a little bit, yeah, or reinterpret, okay? And that's why sometimes, people either give up, okay, just follow, or you can understand the intent under the particular code and work with the authorities to say whether there's an alternative, okay, to look at it. So it becomes more performative, yeah. And then you have to deal with technology, understanding, the materials that you're using, how it performs. You have to deal with context, the big word context, right? Yeah. Because whatever you build has to situate itself in a place, in a point of time. So you have to understand, at that particular site that you build in, what has evolved over the past that comes to the present, and how will it affect the entire place? What will it become? Yeah, I think that's the question.
I guess neither of us ever felt comfortable being, the quintessential star architect that, has, this is my design and I'm going to put it there and you're going to live with it. We were always very collaborative. We always thought of things like the weather and the clients and the economy and as our team. And we work with that. We're like coordinator more than we are master. Of course, somebody has to take the lead in a design for it to be coherent, but it doesn't have to be top down. It doesn't have to be one person kind of dictating, this is what I like and that's what's going to be. It can be very much growing from all of these factors. And our job is basically to put it together, to formulate it into something coherent, simple, that performs all the functions required in the simplest way and most poetic way, I guess.
So couples working in this industry is not uncommon, but has setting up a firm together or by your own, kind of the goal?
I suppose it has been, yes. We always had intention to work, the 2 or 3 of us together.
We were very lucky. We were poor. Yeah. And, working for a company, you have to be there for quite a while to be able to step up the corporate ladder and, of course, achieve a certain financial ability to come out on your own. We came out after about 8 years, and I don't come from a rich family. I don't have financial backing of of parents who is able to support. So we literally built it from scratch. So we had a few more well-to-do friends, who helped us out, when we started out. So we did their projects, and then it just basically grew from there.
They referred to the next. So.
Connections, it's very important.
Friends, having friends.
Even if it was not a big budget, doing something good. If you really concentrate on doing something good and pleasing everybody, that the client is happy. If it's a house, they're living there happily and it works for them, then that will pass on to the next, and you it naturally evolves.
Okay. I'm gonna move on to teaching. So both of you have been studio tutors before, and I know we're currently tutoring. Are there certain characteristics you both have noticed with the students who perform well?
Yes, I think it's usually quite clear. Though not that one student consistently performs well and others don't. It depends on the project. So sometimes they really shine on one project and don't on another. But generally, it's their level of interest in what they're doing is what comes across. Like their excitement at what they're doing. If they're really excited about something, they're self-propelled. It's like a machine. They're self-propelled, and they will be so interested that they will keep rigorously looking at it and trying to make it better, make it better, make it better. Developing you as a designer is you finding in yourself something that you find really amazing or fantastic or very curious about, and you want to find out more. That is how you grow, and that is basically how you do well.
So basically just
Passionate about
A particular
designing, what you're doing,
thing.
the particular design that you're working on.
I suppose what always surprises me is even though you don't, like in Canada, where I studied, we had degrees before going into architecture. So we had maybe more life experience, and we had knowledge base outside of architecture that came into it. whereas in NUS, most people are straight out of school, right? However, I'm always surprised by the quite ingenious takes people bring to their projects and how they interpret things. It's always that I think I find most fascinating is the creativity in how they interpret the project.
Because they didn't have any like experience.
Because yeah, you're like 18 or 19. The guy's a little bit older, but
For me? Oh, yeah, I think I share similar observations. What I find most exciting is that the ability to be able to work with students. So it's almost like undertaking like 12 different projects, okay, with them, okay, and this exchange in terms of world viewpoints. I'm not so interested about your design ideas. I'm more interested about how you think and what your worldview is, okay? Where you can try to understand the personality. I find this aspect very, very fascinating.
With all these characteristics, are these also the characteristics of potential employees that work for you?
hopefully, yes.
When someone comes to you and like interview with you, this is what you talk about. Work
Yes,
with
try to understand,
then your
yeah.
interests and
Their interests, where their passion lies. Because there's nothing more important than that they are passionate. It doesn't matter if you're not passionate about design, it doesn't matter. But if you're passionate about, let's say, I love contracts. Yeah, okay. I love contracts and I know all about it and I love how the mechanism works and why it's so important to translate the design into a constructed form. Yeah, that to me is what I look for. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then. Because you guys both have been students, do you have like a funny or insightful story that you can share about your experience?
There was one year, I used to teach first year, I think I did for about 6 years in a row, and they were always modifying the program. So one year we taught, we had the same studio for one entire year, and a lot of the student comments were that they wish there were so many tutors that they wish that they could see other tutors or get the opinions of other tutors, I guess. At the end of the year, that was the comment. So the school the next year went overboard the other way. Like it was crazy. We only had students for 2 weeks and then we moved on to another studio, another 2 weeks, another studio. So I didn't know anybody. I mean, I didn't know everybody looked familiar and everyone I didn't recognize. So what happened also during crits, because we didn't really know the students' progress, I suppose. So what happened during crits was that we would do this thing called pin up, no talk. So the students would pin up their work, and they're not there during the crit. The students are not there. So the tutors would go around and we'd put these sticky notes on the board with some comments. So at the end, you maybe have 5 sticky notes from different tutors. I thought that was, I didn't really enjoy teaching that semester because I thought, I don't know them, I haven't seen their work. And for me, the great thing or the rewarding thing is to see somebody progress. And I didn't see that. And I didn't really remember any part of it, right? There was nothing memorable for me. But years later, I was having drinks with one of our associates who happened to be in that year, that cohort. And her boyfriend came along and joined us for drinks. And he said, oh, you taught me. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't remember teaching you. And I don't remember your project or anything about it. Because normally I will remember people's projects. And he goes, "Oh, I remember you." And he showed me, he kept on his phone a photo of the sticky note that I had pinned up, and he goes, "That inspires me every day." And I thought, oh my gosh, without even, remembering him, I managed to inspire somebody, just with a sticky note. So that, I guess, was rewarding in a surprising way.
What was it on the sticky note?
I don't remember.
You didn't ask to see it, like the sticky note.
I did. I read it at the time, but yeah, it was. I guess the good thing, I guess, when you're quickly reviewing something is you really get to the point, and I could see the problems in the project easily, and I could see also how much interest he had in it by how he drew, how he presented the thing, showed his level of interest in his own project.
I'm still in contact with him.
Yeah, he's now married to one of our associates. Actually. Yeah.
I taught many years ago, and I had to stop because it was just not viable for me. Yeah.
Any stories that stand out?
Maybe your quicksand
A trip to
A
Xi'an.
student saved his life.
Yeah. So there was one year, in which I had like 10 students on my in my studio, 10 students, and only one of them is a male. Okay. Very, very bizarre. So we went on this trip to Xi'an because the project, at that time, the school actually sponsored some of these overseas trips. And we were in Xi'an. It was a job site that I was doing a project in. And we were taking a walk on the site, and I stepped on quicksand, and I basically went down.
Some desert.
It is a mine. It's a old, abandoned mine. Okay, so it's trying to basically revive a brownfield site, and we didn't know there were these quicksand pits. Yeah. So I went down, and of course, the 9 girls didn't know what to do, and so the only one who was able to react was this guy who came and had to think of a way of how to pull me up. Yeah.
Yeah, you were up to his waist.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I was up to almost here. Yeah. No, not for. They were quite far away, but I could call out to them, and they knew I was in trouble, but they didn't know what to do.
Okay, so Straits Times mentioned that only 7 in 100 architecture graduates remain in the industry. Do you have any immediate thoughts on this?
I think it's 7 in 100 think they might remain in the industry. It's not remain in the industry, but it's honestly not. It's not a new thing. I mean, it's presented like new data, but it's often been like that. Like even when I graduated, I think a small percentage of my class actually did remain in the industry. I mean, you're trained to develop a creative process. You're trained to assimilate factional information, bring it together, and create something out of it. And that training works for you for many, many different professions. I mean, the architecture profession does have some issues, but those people who are sure, maybe that's 7%, just go out and do it, Probably 80% are not sure. Those people, give it a try. I mean, it's not I wasn't sure I was going to be an architect. I wasn't sure I was going to be a singer. I mean, there's no surety in life. We just try things out. And I suppose maybe it's a little bit overwhelming when you first start working to realize that actually there are many, many, many things you still need to learn in order to practice well, right? because school teaches you some aspects of the practice, and then practice teaches you a lot of aspects of the practice. So maybe they're overwhelmed with that. It is something that develops really over a lifetime, but it is very rewarding field. I still love what I do. He loves what he does.
Yeah, I don't think I can think of anything else I would do. Yeah, I mean, the problem with the marketplace, okay, is in the global marketplace, because this is not particular to Singaporean architects. It's architects all over the world, okay. We still produce a lot of them, okay, but it just seems that the Industrial Revolution, now we're going into our fourth Industrial Revolution, right? That the nature of industry, evolves, So it's either you transform, okay, or you become irrelevant, right? Yeah.
Students intend to stay in the industry. What should be prepared for?
Go to the industry with an open mind, firstly. Okay, a lot of students join the industry with expectations. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to design my, beautiful, fantastic, complex, and I can say that this is my work, and then I'm going to, become a star architect and stuff like that. Okay? No. Okay? It doesn't necessarily have to work out that way. Okay, join the industry with an open mind. Okay, learn the ropes, understand all the problems, okay, that's associated with it. And if you think design, okay, is important, okay, then you should basically start to design your way out of it. Okay, so instead of blaming it on external factors, because this problem has been present since my time and before my time. Okay, we already had this discussion way back then. It's just that now with technology we are able to actually harness data, right? And data becomes like, wow, the big thing. But we knew back then already that the industry was going towards this kind of downhill. But it hasn't deterred many, okay, from continuing, because I think they find that there is something that they do, okay, it gives them a certain sense of purpose and joy. Most important is a sense of purpose. Okay, who gets to build something and says that's mine? Okay, that's my design. That's my blood and sweat. Okay. And it's evidence, present, physical, and whatever you build will be there for maybe next 50, 60 years, right? So there must be something, about it that keeps architects going.
Maybe can both of you share like a lesson that you have learned that is unique to your experience?
I learned a lesson early on when I was, one of my first projects that I was designing was for the Esplanade. It was this outdoor performance area. And I, like in school, you have a project. I was so excited to have a design, and I was, really putting my heart and soul into it and working late nights working on it. And I had to present it to this team, and they hated it. They hated it. They were like criticizing it so badly. And I was like fuming inside. I was so angry. And it was like someone was criticizing my baby, And this architect was sitting next to me, leaned over, and he goes, "I think someone's in love." And he hit the nail on the head. I loved my project. It's important to love what you do, love your work, but then you shouldn't fall in love with your work. Falling in love with your work means that you are not seeing its faults anymore. Like when you fall in love with a person, you don't see them the same way. They're kind of like in a rose, in a rose garden, I suppose. And it's very difficult to take criticism. So it's very important to love what you do, but then be able to pull back and look at it objectively and see what's good and what's not good about it. And when someone has a comment, yeah, sometimes it hurts a bit, but there may be validity in the comment. Maybe there's not, and maybe you can still fight for it, but sometimes there is. And I think that was a huge pill to swallow, but very important lesson.
Thank you for watching our second episode of the Get to Know video. Please stay